he's gonna stay right where he's at. He just won't be the chairman, he'll be.
Yeah, well, again, if you look at the list of that committee, Transportation Infrastructure, what I'm describing is, it was led by the Republican side, but now that the House is dominated by the Democratic side, then they have leadership position. Yeah, okay, so, whoever, this is not about right or left, folks. This is about right or wrong. This is about, this is wrong to be polluting these waters, and whoever is right to correct it, I don't care whether they're on the right or on the left, they should be about right, correcting them, doing the right thing for our water bodies. So let's do that. So we appreciate the congressman, and now that he's in office, whoever is in office currently, finally we know who's there, we finally should actually work with them. I plan to have conversations with Rick Scott as our new U.S. Senator. It's going to be tough, but I need to go have conversations with him. Because guess what? He is our U.S. Senator. And we have to have his support to go through, to get these on the Senate side as well as the House side. But the question I just asked Stephen is an important question we all need to ask. Who's going to be on the Transportation Infrastructure Committee? The other important committees are called appropriations committees. You remember this gets passed, the word of bill, as an authorization. It's not an appropriation. To implement it, you need an appropriation. What comes this next year is the appropriations committee. So there are all these subcommittees.
Which will change from Republican to Democrat, right? So the importance of that is, if you do know other members on the Democratic side, to encourage them to appropriate that. We did on our side, House flipped, now we have to make sure it's still put in, right? That's just the reality of it. It has nothing to do with party, other than the fact that it was appropriated, now it's out, it needs to go back in. So if you have other members of Congress throughout the country that happen to be Democrat, all the better to help move this forward.
Yeah, and we've even talked that people here are seasonal residents. You may be a resident in Michigan during the other season. You may know your congressman in Michigan who is on this committee, whether it's appropriation or infrastructure. Please get in touch with them and say, hey, I'm a resident of Michigan and of Florida. This is a critical issue to us. So don't forget us when this comes up in your committee.
Master 20 county, we get any votes to
yeah.
too, right?
Yeah, so okay, we're going to wrap it up as we get to the rest of the agenda, but these are all great questions, great discussion. We really appreciate
Mark,
this.
to what degree will the new reservoir have an impact on this issue?
So the question is, and we'll end with this, which is a pretty good question, what degree will this new reservoir south of the lake have on this whole discharges? You know what happened as it came forward really quickly, the A1, the A2 reservoir, very small footprint, going to be deep. It's going through what they call, because it's part of the water bill now, it's going through, the Corps of Engineers puts it through a PED process, a planning, engineering, design. So they're physically getting down the engineering, looking at what the state came up with for that plan. Now that plan may have to be modified or changed to meet the criteria that we're trying to do. The estimates are anywhere from 56 to 60% reduction in the Lake Okeechobee releases. So 56% reduction, that's to both estuaries, not just to St. Lucie. So that may be significant. My question is, okay, where's the other 44% going to come from? Because I want to stop them 100%. That's what my button says. See, my button says stop the district. I want to stop them 100%. They don't need to come to us or to go south. They need to go south. And we have other problems in our own watershed we need to solve. So let's get this big one. If we can get this done more than 56%, I'm on favor of that. I'm still waiting to see how much that's going to solve it, but that's a big question and a good one to end on, because we need to go to our agenda, and then we're going to kind of wrap up. So next on is River Kids, and then our speaker bureau. So Nick, want to talk from there or speak up? Or here you go.
And then Todd, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Nick Nader with River Kids, and I wanted to introduce Carissa Kernan, who is with Modern Juice Company. She's been one of the instrumental moms and one of the leaders of River Kids the last couple of years, doing a great job. And I just wanted to say that at Modern Juice, she has Toxic Alpha shirts left if you guys wanted to get this for Christmas or anything for anybody. And I do have River Kids shirts available, so get in touch with me, please. I'm going to be here a little bit after the meeting. I wanted to say that we are doing a presentation for Felix Williams Elementary coming up in February, so Jackie Thurlow-Lippert and I will be doing that, talking about water quality and all the marine animals in the estuary. That's what one of the teachers of the year. She was voted teacher of the year for Felix Williams. Her name is Christina Vignon-Radcliffe, and she's amazing, and she's asked us to speak every year now for the last 5 years, which is great. We will be at Waterfest in March 23rd is Waterfest, and also the Mutt March of Humane Society is in conjunction with that this year. So we're also going to be printing up the Fighting for Finn t-shirts. If anybody knows what that is, that was the dog that passed away because of the toxic algae. And then many of the dogs that were sick, there was a big issue with the toxic algae in pets. So we want to bring awareness to that, print up t-shirts and sell those there. And we'll just take whoever wants to come volunteer with us. So I'll have Caressa talk about what we're going to be doing at Waterfest and anything about the event that you all just did.
Hi, I'm Caressa Kernan. Recently, we just did the C4CW expression session, which was a surf contest at Stuart Beach. There were actually waves for the contest, so it was a real contest, not just us hanging out on the beach. And I passed out a whole book of workbooks, the River Kids books, so we got those out there. And then we're doing the Tyler Treadway 12 Days of Christmas. So we will be, the River Kids will be one of the days that he gives away charity information about. We are buying it's called the Enviroscape. FOS has one. Vincent has it, and I actually saw Vincent doing it at the Rally for the River and fell in love. The kids could actually do it themselves, and it's like a way to show the non-point and point runoff from the water. There's a video actually that I have that I was going to share with everyone if you have any, but it'll be in the article, so now I don't have to send it out. But that is what we're asking for donations for this year, so that the River Kids can have that at their events. The kids can demonstrate how pollution happens, how you don't have to actually live on the water for stuff that happens in your yard to matter in the estuary. So we thought that would be a great thing for us to add.
What's it called again?
It's called an Enviroscape, and we're doing the coastal version. There's like 4 different types, I think. Yeah, there's sewage plant, all different kinds.
Great.
So it's really cool.
The 12 Days of Christmas is going to be the TC Palm, and they do it annually, and so.
I think he said we'd be the 3rd or 4th day.
Yeah, so it's going to come out on 12 Days of Christmas, and each day they're going to feature like the River Kids or another organization that needs some help. So here we go, Todd.
Barbara, if you've got that slide, I'm Todd Weissing. I'm the coordinator of the Rivers Coalition Speakers Bureau.
What
To
slide?
give you an idea, the one with 9 years out of the last 15.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So we've talked a little history about the Rivers Coalition, a little history about the Speakers Bureau. The Speakers Bureau has been in existence for about 8 years. We address organizations, about 8 to 10 of them a year. The purpose of this is not everyone can fit in this room. We've got 300,000 members of our 105 organizations, and so what it's our job in the Speakers Bureau is to bring this message to your group. It'll come up here in a second.
Well, yeah.
And so the key is, and we just talked about lures. Lures has been around since 2008. The problem I have is that we have had posted signs on our waterway 9 of the last 15 years that you cannot go into the water. You cannot go into the water because it's poisonous. That's a problem. We need to adjust lures, we need to vote for the right people, and we need to educate everyone. The 300,000 that we represent, that's a problem, people. That's a problem. So how do we change this? The way we change it is all of you have organizations. You represent organizations. If you have meetings, invite us to attend, invite us to speak. We've got some great speakers. They're very informative. They're kind of entertaining too. So come and see me. We would love to bring our message to your organization. The key point is, the more the population is educated, the better they will vote, the better they will be energized, and the more often they will contact the decision makers. So, see me, if you have a meeting, we'd love to come and visit with you.
Do you want to tell us about the Seagate?
Thanks, Todd.
Oh, yes, thank you, sorry. Just as an example, these are very good examples. Seagate Harbor, Dan invited us to attend their Thanksgiving feast. And so we were the speaker at their Thanksgiving feast. We had 40 people in attendance, and we dined, enjoyed each other's company. We spoke, they asked a lot of questions. The community lives on the water, they're very interested about the water issues. In January, we already have 2 speaking engagements. The Sons of the American Revolution. And we also have the American Association of University Women. All of our organizations are different. They all aren't fishing clubs or involved in the marine industry. They're all different, but they're all interested. So please invite us. We'd love to be there.
Thank you, Todd. Great job, great. We appreciate Todd organizing. Diane Hughes from Martin County, we're going to talk about government and agencies and the state agencies next, so.
Thank you, Mark. I don't think I'm going to talk much about conditions in the estuary. You know, the lake levels come down, we're not discharging anymore. We haven't had any discharges since October 5th, so kind of keep that in your mind when we do start to have discharges. The lake's at 13.12. The salinity levels are in satisfactory, favorable conditions right now. And the temperatures are definitely dropping from this cold snap, so they're down around 70 degrees. The health department did do enterococcus sampling this past week, and they just posted yesterday, and everything's good except Layton Park. So Layton Park is in the moderate range. Not sure what's going on there, considering we haven't really had a lot of rain or any discharges. There is a St. Lucie Estuary Basin Management Action Plan meeting that will be on December 12th. That will be at our building department conference room from 10 to 12. So the DEP is coming down to give us our annual update on where we're at with our load reductions.
Is that okay?
Pardon?
Is that a public?
Yes, that's open to the public, yeah. At the building department conference room on Runke, no, this is in Martin County. Our building department conference room right across from Sailfish Splash Park. So it's right over there, from 10 to 12 on December 12th. Martin County could definitely use some volunteer assistance in stocking WAG bags. Those are waste alleviation and gelling bags at MC1 and MC3 islands. The purpose of that device is to provide a sanitary way to dispose of human waste when there's not a running toilet available, and to eliminate visitors who are visiting those islands from randomly alleviating themselves all over the islands, which is currently happening, which is helping pollute our Indian River Lagoon. So we're kind of pilot projecting that, and we're looking for people to help us stock those dispensers. And if people end up leaving the bags behind, we're probably just going to end up not using it as a pilot program, because we want them to take it off the island with them, and then properly dispose of it. The other thing that we're looking for is we could use assistance with developing and maintaining a Martin County Blue Wave paddling trail. And if you're interested in that, please contact Mike Houston at our Ecosystems Division. And after this, if you want to come up to me, I'll just give you his phone number and you can contact him regarding that. The 2019 legislative priorities for Martin County, well, we have some 2019 legislative priorities for Martin County, but there was also on this past Monday a Treasure Coast Tri-County meeting, which included Indian River, St. Lucie County, and Martin counties. And there was support for the following environmental issues. Indian River Lagoon, support funding for septic to sewer conversion, grant for communities along the Indian River Lagoon and the St. Lucie Estuary. Biosolids, support prioritizing the reduction and eventual elimination of the land application of human wastewater biosolids, and support establishing a pilot program for funding new state-of-the-art wastewater technologies, and support restricting or eliminating land application of Class B biosolids in the state of Florida. Then our last one that we have is a dedicated annual funding for our beach renourishment projects. So support the creation of a new dedicated and recurring statutory funding source for beach renourishment projects. That's all we have. Thanks.
Next up was about the state and federal agencies. The Water Resource Committee meeting is going to be December 6th coming up, and then the governing board meets on December 13th, the following Thursday. I think they're in West Palm. Last month, they were down in Coral Gables. They kind of move it around sometimes. So you just have to go to the website, check out what's on the agenda. Unfortunately, they put it the 9th hour, they put the agenda on this last month. They wanted to extend these leases in the EAA, and you might have heard some stuff about that. There's even some legal action going on that, so I can't comment too much on it, but the idea is, hey, they shouldn't be doing this. And then they went to lunch break with an attorney-client privilege, and they came out, and they rescinded, they told the judge, we don't need the consent decree to tell us about the phosphorus pollution in the Everglades anymore, because we're meeting those criteria based on our data. So we don't need your federal oversight anymore. So I haven't seen the judge's reaction to that, but I'm sure the judge might react to that, because that case has been going on a long time. So those are things to stay tuned. As I say, with the federal agencies, the new Congress is coming in. The governor gets inaugurated on January 8th. Other things are going to be happening right after the first of the year. So really stay tuned, get involved, whether it's local, state, or federal governments. We all ought to be involved, not just to go vote on November 6th, which we did, but we all ought to get involved now to see who's on the leadership, see who's in these committees, get involved, take an advocacy part in this role of what we need to do to fight for clean water. So with that, local issues, Rivers Coalition Defense Fund. Charles, you have a word?
I think at the beginning of this meeting, Mark did a wonderful job talking about the changes that are happening with the Rivers Coalition and looking forward to the January meeting. The only thing I wanted to add was, working with Larry Crary, we will be updating our bylaws and our articles of incorporation to make this organization as influential as possible in the political arena while maintaining our 501c3. And I did want to ask kind of a rhetorical question. With the changes going on and the recognition of how important who is sitting on the South Florida Water Management District Board is to us, how about 300,000 people, 105 organizations putting forward a Mark Perry for that seat?
Yes, yes. I spelled water and nominated on water.
I second it.
But, yeah, not busy enough, right? So, I think thank you very much for that encouraging word. Or should I thank you? Maybe not. I think there are good qualified people out here, and as Charles said, we all ought to put our minds together, our thoughts together, carefully look for somebody who could represent us, not just one person, but a couple of people. And let's get those names together. Let's maybe send them in to Barbara as the central, and let's start researching them, getting qualified, talking to them, and let's see if we can't get that to the governor-elect right away. I mean, his first week in office, we ought to be there at the door saying, welcome aboard. You came down here, we went out with you on a pontoon boat, you said you were going to do this and this and this, and one of the things you said was about the governing board. Here's some names, here's some suggestions. Martin County's big voice right now in your, you gotta have it. And maybe invite him to one of our meetings. What do you think about that? We should invite Governor DeSantis to come to our meeting.
Isn't George Jones got some more time now?
Oh yeah, I think George Jones has some more time.
Semi-retired.
So it's not, yeah, so look around, there are lots of qualified people.
I did want to add, Mark, when you talk about the lawsuit
Yeah.
on the
Yes, no.
South,
Yeah.
that's the Florida Wildlife Federation that's
Yeah.
taking that stand. I'm on the board of directors with them, and that's something that they're going to fund. We're going to be working with Earth Justice on it. So
Yeah, there's some big,
some serious guns coming
serious
out.
guns coming out legally against some of those decisions, and rightfully so. It was not a very legal decision. They're required to give so much notice, and that went on their agenda at 9 p.m. the day before, the night before. We're all looking at the agenda going, well, okay, they're going to discuss that or talk about nothing about this. Marty Baum, our Reedy River Keeper, give it up, welcome.
spoke twice to Nettles Island, once for their fishing club and once for their environmental club. It was interesting, it was right after the election, and everybody was kind of hangdog because we realized that things probably weren't going to go clean water way. All we could do is hope and put some pressure on these people and let them know that we're out here watching. Sierra Club opened up a brand new office in Belle Glade. It took them about a year because nobody would rent to them. There are hazards, maybe, for being there. What they did was they brought toxic puzzle to the community. And they were seriously worried that there would be no one showing up. Calusa Waterkeeper sent their executive director, Ronaldo Diaz, our Lakewood waterkeeper, and myself were there. Dr. Larry Brand was there to answer questions. There were more people in the audience than we thought would be there, including a sugar farmer. One of the things that I think the community was worried about was this would be like a big hate session on them. What they learned in that room was that we were all willing to talk. We were all willing to give them credit for the efforts that they've made to clean their water, and that we wanted to work with them, that we were not adversaries. So this has a pretty good potential for the community south of the lake. You know, when the lake is covered with 90% of toxic cyanobacteria, and the mayor of Clewiston stands for 30 minutes telling everybody how pristine the water is, that they're catching fish and eating fish and children jump in the water, something's wrong. The people have no idea. They see it happening to the West Coast and to the East Coast, but they don't realize that they're breathing it themselves. 70 of us were tested here in Martin St. Lucie County. All 70 have microcystin in their nose, including myself and my wife. That leads us to another thing. I got a phone call yesterday from David Guest. He served for about 30 years at Earth Justice, and he asked me to get involved in the lawsuit that George just brought up. It is a petition to cause them to take back the lease. Now, I would have loved to have been part of the consent decree issue, because I think that is going to be a horrible thing. If we move the feds out, the state of Florida historically just doesn't test, and they don't care. So that's a big deal to me. But this, I feel, is illegal. There was a 7-day requirement for notification for us to have some input. I would point out to you that if they had done that 7 days before, it would have been known before the election that Governor Scott was pushing this. I think it's really slimy that this happened 2 days afterwards. So David Guest spent, 20 minutes or so talking to me about this, and he asked me to join the lawsuit. So my name is on it. I'm hung out to dry and I'm in the window. And I gotta tell you, I'm not sleeping well. I know whose tail I have just twisted. So from you, please think about supporting this thing. The Wildlife Federation is going to need some money. They're underwriting this, they're paying for the attorneys. This is a big deal. If we can reverse this, I really think that it'll make a difference. I believe that this in the shadows deal that was worked out between Sugar and the Water Management and Governor Scott, I think that the whole purpose is to delay us getting the SDA that we need so badly. At every turn, these guys are the best in the whole world at obstructing things. If they can't obstruct it here in Florida, they do it at Congress. We'll see how the lawsuit falls out, but it's kind of scary from me. I'm getting there shaking about this. But please, give us some support. Maybe make a couple donations to the Florida Wildlife Federation. They're deserved. Manly Florida's a friend, George is a friend. These guys do really good work for us. So it was pretty brazen that they went at this. So, thank you.
What's the name of the lawsuit?
Pardon me?
What is the name of the lawsuit?
It's a petition for a formal hearing to petition the Water Management District to revisit the leases that we feel they have illegally allowed. The leases were going to expire in March. What they did was they preempted that. They're giving Sugar 2 years to farm the land, and if we should get funding for Wordle before then, we would have to pay them to take back the lease. A lot of money, actually. So there are a couple other things. There's a section of the land that is leased in a different way. There's an access road that we feel will probably obstruct the construction. We don't need anything in our way. We've been waiting for 30 years for this. And now the government has circumvented us, gone around us, and done some really not nice politics behind the scenes. So if our voices are loud and if we're consistent, that the leases are bad, they're illegal, I believe they are, we're going to try to prove that, I think things are better for us. It could move forward years, us getting some relief on the discharges, which is, everybody in this room, some of us have been here 20 years. We've been working hard for this. And when we finally get a victory, when we finally get SB 10 going, they chipped it from 80 to 17,000 acres. Now they're trying to own it. And so, support.
What's the name of the jurisdiction?
Of the who?
What court jurisdiction? What court?
I don't think it's a court. I think it goes before the Water Management District, and from there, if they reject it, then it goes into appeal. And then it, it starts getting long and involved.
It'll become an administrative hearing is what it will become.
Administrative
It'll be an administrative law judge that'll be assigned.
Maybe George.
Right.
And what will happen, what the main contention is going to be is that there wasn't properly noticed to the public, that they violated the law in their noticing, and that they moved way too quickly without giving public the ability to comment on it.
Thank you, Marty. Thanks, everybody. A couple of member announcements, and then we have another commissioner announcement, and then we'll adjourn. Yes, member announcements. Stand there.
Real quick on a happier note, our Indian River Keeper was entitled, he won't toot his own horn, but Environmentalist of the Year by Sierra Club.
Something that happened there, I was talking to some people, I get a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around and it's Jimmy and Betty Osceola. They traveled all the way up to be there. When I sat down at the table with them, Betty reaches into her purse and she says, "We have something for you. Jimmy made it. It's our tribal healing colors." And she put it around my neck. Given that I'm standing here with stitches in 2 arms, tomorrow I get 3 surgeries on my legs and next week on my ear for skin cancer. Healing is needed in Marty's.
Jackie, and then come over, Jackie.
Well, after that, I don't know whether I should.
It's okay.
I want to tell you all that I am still refusing to apologize to my friends here for being so partisan. And the reason that I have to be partisan is because just what you were talking about. It's going to go to an administrative law judge, all of these little problems that we have, and who gets to appoint the judges? The governor coming in is going to appoint the judges. So pardon me for being partisan, but I can't help thinking that I'm right.
Yes, please stand up and announce.
I would just like to say that my brain is not fast enough to write down in a pad all these various letters that we talked about sending. So I wondered if somebody could summarize it and I might send it out to all of us.
Well, thank you. That's a great idea. Barbara is taking lots of good minutes and notes, which will be posted up, and their videos are posted and things, so we can go back and review what happened, who said what and what about this. That's a good point. Back in the back, yes, ma'am. Stand up.
Yeah, this is the Martin County Florida Native Plants Society. Just to remind people that we have meetings once a month and field trips. They're open to the public and they're free. There's a calendar back here.
Monthly field trips from Native Plant. Michelle, we have we have an oyster bagging event today, which we did out there at Florida Oceanographics. We're still encouraging habitat restoration, so get involved if you can with our advocacy groups and also our restoration task groups. Is there anything else? Water quality testing? Fantastic. Okay. What?
For our member organizations, if you do have an event or a flyer that we can include in our newsletter comes out about a week before our meeting, so we do have a section there to support our member organizations. So you need to get it to us at least
Early in the month.
Early in the month, so it comes out a week before our next meeting, which will be in January, but we might even do one in December as a newsletter, so if you have some items that want to come together, get them to the Rivers Coalition information, info.org, and that way that we can get that into the newsletter. Member organization, I've got a call from some of our counterparts at Sanibel Captiva Foundation, Ray Wessel on the West Coast and others. People get this newsletter, it doesn't just go to all of us as members, they're getting a newsletter way over there and they're saying, hey, I wanted to be there, but I couldn't. So, Mike, the Commissioner, how's it now?
Just quickly, I can tell. Just quickly, I wanted to recognize for you all, Mr. Ben Hogarth, who a while ago, the city of Stuart identified as the point person with all things river related, and so we've been trying to do a lot to kind of organize our efforts at the city, and it's clear that we needed a key point person. And Ben has been doing so much work over the last couple of years of his own accord, and so we wanted to just recognize him.
Is he a staff member?
Yes.
Staff member.
And your official title on that?
Yeah, it changed. Now the community affairs liaison for the city. So I do handle a lot of public information related things, as well as we've been working on a lot of stuff at the river for the last couple of years. And I'll be starting to report some of what we're going to be looking at in the future. We're working obviously with Martin County. Hi, John. We'll be working with the county on some of these issues, and certainly legislation and advocacy. It's a big part of what we're doing. I'll be happy to get involved in that part of the process as much as possible in the future. I do come from a legislative background. I worked for Senator Ted Kennedy back in 2007 with a foreign policy background. And so I know the federal processes, I know the state processes and the local processes, and I'll be happy to help with that as well.
Well, Ben, how do we get in touch with you? What's your?
Yeah, if anyone has a pen and wants to write this down, I'll give you my direct line to the office at 772-288-5333.
288-5333.
Correct. And my email is B as in Ben, last name Hogarth, Hogarth, @ci.stewart.fl.us.
Okay.
Do you mind if we put you as an agenda item?
Yeah, we'll put you.
Oh, and I do plan on being at every one of these meetings that I can be. I missed last month, I was deployed.
Because we do have Martin County, thank you very much, represented, and so if you have issues.
And just one other thing, and this is a little kind of, not necessarily commission action or anything, but I would like to just say, to urge the board and the members, after watching Toxic Puzzle, and thanks to Commissioner Matheson for helping organize that with Martin County, I was really moved by the fact that we had two researchers talking about current and ongoing research that has clearly demonstrated that there are well above safe levels